13 years' time, today's my last day. Got a new place, got a new job. But the really big news, I met my son. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you.
You recognize him? He used to run these streets.
I feel I got like a second chance.
Hi there, Phil. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, Howard, so nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you too. And congratulations on the movie. It's fantastic. I watched it a couple of times the last couple of days just to kind of really refresh my memory. It's fantastic. I loved it. Before the interview, I was doing a little bit of homework about you yourself as well, and kind of what you did before you were you got into films. And it's quite curious. I don't know. Would you say that a lot of this film is kind of semi-autobiographical in a way? Specifically, I was talking about Rory Culkin's character. I couldn't help feeling, this was after I'd seen it, that a lot of that was inspired by you.
Well, I think it's a world I grew up in, you know, and there's definitely things that I pulled from the world I came from, and you know, so yeah, I would say there's a lot, you know, as a writer, there's a lot of you in everything you do, for better, for worse.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, because in the film, I don't want to give anything away, but it feels like he was in this world and everyone was telling him to get out. You don't want to be a rock star or all these kinds of things. And they were all into drugs and all these kind of things. And it's kind of very hypocritical now that these kind of these. So I just kind of felt maybe when you were into your music, maybe you got a lot of this kind of criticism from people who didn't know.
Yeah, oh, definitely. You know, I mean, when you know, growing up in a world like that, the idea of getting out and doing anything seems impossible.
Yeah.
And seems foolish. And I think Lef, his uncle, is disappointed in his childish ignorance to think, you know, he's going to make it out that way. And I think his relationship with him is, it's tough love, right? He's trying to teach him the real way it is to survive. And the fact that Mike is persistently pursuing something so immature. I mean, this guy doesn't even pay his own rent, doesn't do anything in Lef's eyes. And he doesn't see it as something viable or something real. And also, even us in the film, we don't really see anything of Mike to inspire us that he has anything that it takes to get, you know, so it could be, you know, there was a lot of people I knew like that too, that had dreams that they didn't put any work into. There were the people who worked every day. And when I had my music career, I was different in that way. I was really persistent and working on it. I would say Mike is more of a, you know, I think Lef might be a little right about him fooling himself, because, you know, we don't see him putting the work in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of the phrases, like one of the quotes, I think, it's Alex Pettyfer said something about wanting to be something is nothing or something like that. I can't remember exactly the quote.
He says, yeah, it's actually one of my favorite lines. It goes,
I love
"There's
it,
nothing special about wanting to be special. It's the most ordinary thing in the world." Everyone wants to be special, right? Show me someone who strives to be ordinary, right? And then that person is special.
So tell me, so tell me a little bit about the genesis, because I mean, I opened asking you if this specific character was kind of inspired by you, but was that character and then also Luke Evans' character Adam, those kind of clashing and coming together, and then all of the things around it's kind of becoming engulfed in it, were they the two kind of seeds that got everything going?
Well, I mean, you know, when I was writing this, you know, when you write, in this particular case, I was writing not knowing what I'm writing, where I'm going. It was you know, and it was a long time ago I wrote this, started writing it anyway. You know, you're still working on it up until the day you shoot, right? You know, when I look back on it, I didn't purposely try to write from the world that I kind of grew up in. But when I look back on it, there were a lot of things in my life that were this kind of world, you know. I mean, I remember a friend of my brother's 8 years older than me, and he was drunk one night and pulled me in when I was 10 in a car and kept me there till 4 a.m. At gunpoint, you know, he had a gun and drunk and said he was going to kill someone. But I was just trying to get out of the car, and you know, and also you don't say anything in neighborhoods like that. You just keep your mouth shut, get out. And he wound up killing someone, you know, and murdering someone, you know, a week or two later. I think things like that, it was a lot of violence and people who killed and things and people I knew who were murdered. And I think those maybe guilt over that, or maybe that inspired the story in some way unconsciously when I was
Right.
writing it.
Yeah.
Because there are people who've done extraordinary, I don't want to say extraordinary, I want to sound positive, people who've done bad things
Yeah.
that, who were kids. And then I know the people who were victims of it too. And, the anger, the hatred, the empathy, all these very strong emotions. I think I wanted to explore that in the film. And I'm always fascinated about stories that give us a view into what it means to be human, So that's what I like in movies. So that's what I was trying to, I guess, in my way, communicate.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely communicated because I really felt for all these characters, I rooted for them, even though they've done these heinous things. No, you can't help but root for one guy who's murdered someone, but he's seeking redemption. No, and then this other guy who's he wants a way out, but he just doesn't know how to, and everything he tries to do to get a way out just hits the fan. So I mean, that was beautiful. It's really, really well. Like you told the story really well because we were able to kind of appreciate everyone's side of the story. No, that must have been quite a complicated balance when you were writing the script. No.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like my experience of life is complicated. Moral, we know on paper what right and wrong
What we got to
should be and
do.
what it
Yeah.
should look like. But then when you get in the weeds of it and people's, what they think or what they feel like they need to do, it gets complicated. And I
Yeah.
like the idea of seeing the world through these different characters' eyes and seeing what's important to them and to see how they're impacting each other in ways they don't even realize it. Adam wanting to see his son seems so innocent, but look at the boundaries he's crossing for Donna and the world that she's created for her son, and how she feels so like this guy pushing his way and not respecting her boundaries, So our little actions, I feel that's something I felt so human, especially in the pressure of a neighborhood like that where everything's broken. It feels like the walls are kind of moving in and they're forced and getting closer and closer, and inevitably things crash into each other,
What I thought was really beautifully told as well, especially is Luke's when he comes out of when he's obviously back on the street and everyone can see him. It felt very part of the zeitgeist because you see a lot of these people that get into trouble, like famous actors who get in trouble for drugs or they're being violent to someone. Whether it's true or not, there's this stigma on them straight away. So I really like the way that you handled that and the way that Luke Adam tried to kind of come out into the world and try and show people that he was trying to change. But there was just some people that doesn't matter whether they're trying to change or not. They're just white is white and black is black, and that's it.
Yeah, and that was something that I love that Luke brought to it. He had this idea that he wanted Adam almost like as he's walking down the street to people giving him dirty looks, like the old Westerns where people close the shutters when you walk down the street. And he brought that feel, there was even a scene that we cut from the movie, you can't have everything in your pacing. There was a scene where he's even goes into this grocery store and somebody's giving him dirty looks and all this,
Yeah.
But I love, he does a scene with Donna where, she's yelling at him and he's like, like she calls him a, murderer, I don't need my son to know his father's some, ex-con. And he's like, like,
Yeah.
I like that he brought so much to that character to bring it alive. He's just
what kind of conversation did you have about that? Did you actually speak to anybody who had gone through that kind of situation, or was it just kind of personally how you would imagine imagine that kind of scenario?
I did know people who I do know someone who went through something similar, but I never talked to them when they went in. Just kind of feeling, the fact that you just put yourself as a writer in those shoes, if you were, the fact that he wants to see his kid, his North Star, guiding him, and only thing he has of his kid is from when he's like 2 years old or a year old and just wants to see what the kid looks like. He knows if he doesn't even want his son to know who he is because he knows the son will reject him. If his son finds out I'm your father and I'm a murderer, so he just wants to just know him, see him, it's like an obsession. And I think he feels like somehow he can make it all right and undo what, or not, maybe not undo the past, but somehow there's still something good he can do.
Yeah. Something I'm really curious as well before we wrap up is British actors for some reason always seem to get the lead roles for very, very American roles. I mean, you're from Brooklyn originally, I know, I believe. So you must know exactly the kind of people that live there and hang out there. Obviously, like these stories you've been telling me. So what was it about Luke, and then obviously Alex Pettyfer as well, that just were the perfect fit for
you know,
the
they're
guys from there?
such great actors. I was very, very fortunate to work with, I mean, you know, Luke and Rory and Alex and Rudy, Stephanie and Savannah. Like, these are all great actors. And, you know, Alex, you know, I didn't even know the accent that Alex, you know, how much he's going to lean into it, you know. And I remember when I first heard it, I was like, ooh, that's going to really be tough to really sustain. It was really, you know, and I was like, wow, he's got balls really going for this, you know.
Yeah.
And I was so excited by it. And he blew me away. Like, I mean, Alex is like, you know, a Ferrari, you know what I mean? It's like,
No, easy. Yeah, I mean, he kind of faded away a bit, but he's really making there's a renaissance going on at the moment. Yeah, I just watched a film recently, and he's in Guy Ritchie's new film as well soon as well. He's doing really well for himself. Yeah.
And Luke and Roy, I mean, these are like, in my opinion, I mean, I just think they're,
No, me too. Yeah.
I mean, I just, you know, having them, and Rudy too. I know he's young, and Stephanie was amazing. I mean, I'm like a fan, you know, of all these actors, and generally I'm a fan of actors. I mean, you know, they're playing the game. You know what I mean? Like, as a director, I'm on the sideline. Maybe I'm a coach or whatever, but I'm not playing the game. You know, they're the ones we're watching, and they're the ones who make that movie come to life.
I mean, it must be fantastic for you to be able to realize that you're the director and these guys are playing your game. Because I know you're saying that they're playing the game, but they're playing your game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a dream come true, you know. And then you're just terrified. You hope it works. You know, you hope when you put it together, you do right by the actors, you know, because I feel like it's a very big responsibility that they've taken on these characters, and you know, you're borrowing their career for a little bit, and you hope you're not damaging it. You know, you don't want to mess anything up, and you hope it's a film that they'll be proud of. You know, I can't say enough. I mean, it exceeded everything I was hoping for from the acting, and I think I'm really thrilled with the way everything they've done. You know.
Oh, like I said, it's fantastic. I'm sure they're all really proud of it. Not sure if they've all seen it yet, but they will do as soon as they've seen it. I'm sure they'll be proud of it. It's a fantastic job. No, it's going to be great. Listen, thank you so much for your time, Phil. I really appreciate it. Really nice to meet you. And I hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Yeah, I would love to. So nice to meet you.
All right, take care of yourself. Have a good day.
You too.
Cheers then.
Bye.
I can't change what I did. I know who I am. I know who I can be. And I know I can still do something good.